What's going on, guys? Gaming on Budget here, and today we're starting a new series on the channel, Franchise Hockey Manager 6. So I'll try to give you the best rundown of what this game is about. I had to get settings set up on, I believe it's OBS, yep, 22.02. Thank gosh for this capture system because it's free. I don't have to pay money, and it was pretty easy to set up. Hopefully I have the settings right. You should be able to hear me. Hopefully you can see everything on the screen. Okay, so enough of talking about that stuff. Let's get into the game. So I'll try to go one by one through screens, and I'll try to give you guys the best look at this game possible. So when you first start, you can either choose to create your own general manager or be the general manager of your specific team, which I really like the way they added that to this game, because I feel like it adds something new, right? So let's start off with my mouses. This is also, keep in mind, my first time recording computer games, so yeah. Okay, so let's get a rundown of the Leafs roster. So roster brings you to here. It is a slower pace game, so keep that in mind as well. It's a slow pace to the game. It's not going to be fast at all. So just, like I said, keep that in mind. So, rundown of the roster. It should be, hey, we have alternate 2 and alternate 1. So everything should be updated to the specifics. Rundown from the most cap hit to the least cap hit. Oh, clicking buttons. Alright, there we go. So most cap hit to least cap hit. We have Clarkson and Horton on injury reserve. We'll get their money at the end of the year back in our system. So there's Matthews, the highest paid player in the Leafs, then Tavares, then Marner, then Nylander, then Horton, Clarkson, Anderson, Riley, CC, Jake Muzzin, Kerfoot, Janssen, Kapanen, Barry, Hyman, McKayev, Dermott, Moore, Hutchinson, and that's about it. There's Timashov and Spezza still there. Right now we're based in the preseason, so we're not as far, but it's gonna be like, instead of hiring Sheldon Keefe, they're hiring Dubas as the coach, general manager. I don't know, hopefully it adds a bit there. So right now that means Hyman is injured. It had his injury from the beginning of the year, and it also has Travis Dermott's injury from the beginning of the year as well. So that's a rundown of the major roster. Jeez, I cannot speak. There's a bunch that we're gonna have to go through. So there's the training schedule, which I'm gonna set that to be manual. I don't mess with the training. I'd rather let the computers do it. Then there's scouting. There's all the scouts. Brendan Shanahan is a scout. Bodie's a scout. If you remember who Troy Bodie is, then yeah. If you don't, he used to be a player on the Maple Leafs roster. The staff page, this is going to give me the rundown of the trainer. Here we go, team owner, so Larry Tannenbaum. Then the Kyle Dubas, the head coach and GM. We have Andrew Brewer, Steve Briere, Jim Hiller, Scott Pellerin, and then a bunch of scouts. I'm not going to run through them all because there's a lot. And then Paul Ayote. Ayote. I'm sorry, I'm definitely butchering that. Okay. Alright. So, and this is all set up from the beginning of the year, but that's the coach and what they do. So, skills coach is Briere. Scott Pillerin is the offensive coach. Defensive coach, Jim Hiller. And goalie coach, Steve Briere. And we'll call him Paul. Paul's the trainer. Finances. So this is what you'd expect. Cap space next season. We don't have a lot of cap space. So that's going to suck. And it takes into consideration who's expiring too. So because I'm the part of the Leafs now, I have to figure this out. Use my brain. There's still a long time till then, but I'd like to figure it out before it. Being the general manager to this team, I've played this game a couple of times. I haven't played it a lot to get used to. I played Hockey Franchise Manager 5. It's different, but trying to get used to how stuff works in this game is very difficult. Because I'm giving the rundown. There's probably no chance of any simulation. We might do the first preseason game. So that's cap information, the budget information. There's your money for extensions and money for free agency. It's very weird because your money for extensions is $45 million, but next year I don't have anything, right? So it's very, very weird. I have to try to figure this out through the season. Then the trade screen, if I wanted to make a trade, this is what it looks like. So this is my whole roster. And the good thing about this game is, yeah, it has my whole roster, but it also has Leafs rights. So unlike NHL 20, it's more a simplified version of this. This game's kind of, like I said, a slow-paced game. So I don't know how long. I'm going to hopefully we get a couple of years done. I'd like that, at least 5. But yeah, this is the rights. So these players are on different teams. They're Leafs own them pretty much. So there's Riley Stotts, Mikko Kokkonen, Emil Ransson, Kismov, James Greenway. See, he's in the NCAA, so they have the NCAA in this game, which I find really, really cool. So every player in the world is in this game. Not every team, but every player, which is really cool. So I could even go to the Ducks rights. So these are all the Ducks players that they own by rights. So they own someone from Spain, a 20-year-old. And he's playing right now in the SLM. And that has all the draft picks this year, next year. The good thing about this is, unlike NHL, you can go like 5 years in advance and trade those picks. This kind of helps you in a way to get used to trading, because you're not going to trade picks from 5 years, because you don't actually know how your team's going to be. It only lets you trade for this year and the next year. So I have a setup for the team this year, and I'd have a setup for the team next year. But 5 years from now, because this game's so in depth and stuff changes, you don't know how your team's going to look. In NHL, it's kind of straightforward. You know, you build your core of young guys, and you play, right? So this is more in depth. I had it in Hockey Franchise Manager 5, where Mitch Marner had a grade 3 concussion, and he was gone for the full year into the next half half of the next year, right? So stuff changes. So Marner didn't get as much money on his contract when I had to re-sign him. It's a fun way to play. Like, stuff happens. Like, career-ending injuries happen. I haven't had it happen to me. The biggest injury was the Mitch Marner one in last year's game, but I have watched videos on YouTube where team or creators would lose key players. So you draft Shane Wright or a high pick like Shane Wright or Lafreniere. Just like in real life, anything can happen. NHL doesn't have those career-ending injuries that I've seen. Transactions, it has a list of like your upcoming free agents, your unsigned draftees that I have, transaction log, free agency center, transfer summary, a bunch of tabs, right? Current injuries, they're out for the max days, but these guys are out, and it tells you how many days. I tried getting in the Marlies and Growlers logos. Don't know what happened. I'll try to figure it out for next episode. But yeah, so it shows you the list of current injuries and how long they're out, so I can do better planning. It also has an upcoming your schedule, your rankings, the conference. In this tab, there's team home, which we're at, and there's team data. So it tells me the name of the team, the Leafs, abbreviation TRO, where they're playing, who their owner is, who their main rival is, who their potential rival is. Location Toronto and 2 Blues. It has the market size, fan loyalty, farm teams, honored numbers. We don't have honored numbers, but you can honor numbers. Usually at the end of every year that I've played, it has honor numbers, number 12 for the Sharks. So if Patrick Marleau doesn't go back to the Sharks, he is in this game. But let's say you started the season without Marleau on the Sharks. If he played with Montreal for the rest of his career, so usually it's 1 year, you can either retire the number or honor the number, how long they've played, right? It depends on that. So Austin Matthews, let's say he plays 5 years for us, or 8 years, let's say. So 3 more years after his contract's up, he decides to sign a 3-year deal with us and then leaves because we're not a cup contender anymore. I can honor his number after he retires, or I can retire his number completely. So there's no honor numbers right now. It's only retired uniforms, 99 for the entire league, 93, 27, 21, 17, 24, or 14, 13, 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 1. It also has team chemistry, so it tells us how well they gel together. David Clarkson's selfish. You got your leaders. You've got the prankster, Travis Dermott, the spark plug, Trevor Moore. And then your manager relations. But look, the coach report. It's still too early to make any inferences on how the club is running. Once I have a better idea, I'll let you know what I think. So he actually tells you what to do. It helps a little bit. Job security. So there's a bunch of different factors that sends down the fan happiness. It always starts at 80, but if I lose season series against rivals, or every game I lose against Montreal and Ottawa, this goes down. So you got to make sure that you put your best lineup out there for most games. If you're not winning, if you don't win, it goes down, right? You also have your job security. If you lose a bunch of games or you're having a bad season, that goes down and I get fired. He has a lot of patience, so it doesn't go down as fast. But his objective, the owner's objective, Tannenbaum's objective is to make the playoffs. So that's what we'll do this year. History is the next tab. News I didn't go over, but history, well, because news is pretty straightforward. I'll show you when we get it. History, boom. History for the entire Maple Leafs. From when they've started all the way up till this year. And years keep adding. So right now, we have 13 Stanley Cups. I'm trying to change all this around so it looks a little bit better. Point leaders, goal leaders, assist leaders, shutout leaders, save percentage leaders. Anderson now tops that. Win leaders and goals against average leaders. There's a bunch in here. Player index. Fun fact, I am related to this guy. He is my great-grandmother's cousin, Larry Jeffrey. Last year, Leafs won the Cup. He played. So he's on the Cup. Yet to meet him, but I really do want to meet him. Staff index, so it shows your coaches. So reputation, this is really cool. Conn Smythe, Frank Selke, Punch, Imolch, Jim Gregory, Cliff Fletcher, Pat Quinn, John Ferguson, Scott Carter, and Lou Lamoriello. That's just for general managers. Then there's coaches. Babcock might be on here. Yep. Oh, this is weird. Oh, it shows how long they've been here. He didn't get let go in 16. I don't know. Paul Maurice, Randy Carlisle. They have to update that most likely, but yeah, that's weird. How many times he's got fired? Boom, 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 boom. We also got leaderboards. So this is a weird thing. So right now they've got the season ones and career ones. So most recent are these two. Career points is led by Bozak and Matt Martin for career hits. Wow. Domi for penalty minutes. So this all changes as your team grows. So names get replaced if they do good, and you get alerts about it too. Missed the alumni list. So the alumni list, every player on the team that has been on the team actually, and it shows you their team now or if they're retired. So I've seen one that says Toronto. Rich Clune, so he played for the Maple Leafs. He's right now in the Marlies. Kessel, but Phaneuf not on a team. Lupul not on a team, right? So it shows you everybody that's been on it for not the entire. Oh, there's Justin Pogge, Garrett Sparks, Jonas Gustafsson, Jonathan Bernier, James Reimer. I don't know how far back this goes. I want to think. See, these are the recents. So it goes back till 2002. Justin Williams. Oh, I probably got that wrong. Jeremy Williams. Yeah, that was a little weird, I thought. But it just reset. So that's really, really cool. Jersey numbers this shows you what jersey's been worn by every player, I believe, for the Leafs organization. So Hoji and Rutherford wore it. Fraser, Hainsey, Hunwick, Shen, Baldwin, Wade Belk, Jim Benning wore this jersey. Your captain, former captain Dion Phaneuf, Red Kelly wore number 4, and where is he? DJ Smith played for the Maple Leafs. He wore number 4. Patrick Marleau, number 12. Steen, or number 10. Clark MacArthur. This is very, very in-depth. One of my favorite players, I'll show you guys. I don't know why he's one of my favorites, but he is. There he is, Nikolai Kulemin. If I could get this guy on a contract with us, that'd be really cool. Mittelberg, Magnitogorsk. I wish I could get this guy on another deal. For some reason, I just like the way he's played. So game records. So in a game, I believe the Matthews record should be here. Maybe not. Or it's just taking a while to load. Playoff records, playoff rookie records. I think this all updates when your team. I think this is different. Alright, so that's that. So what do we got? History, schedule. So there's a rivalry in the preseason. There's your preseason. Then into October. It actually has the real life, same as NHL, the real life schedule. So I went to this game here. In real life, I went to this game. It was a good game, actually, when they went to the shootout. So where are we right now? We're in February still. Nope. January. There we go. So this is the game on Monday. So today's the 26th. This is the break they've been on. Boom. Home. Home and home, I think. I think this means home. Not too sure. I don't know if it... Well, there's an easy way to check that. No, home is blue, so these are away. Depth charts. This is really cool and something I wish, well, NHL 20 has this. It's when you go to roster moves. But I wish it was set up like this, because this would be so much easier to see who you got. So Kenny Agostino is ready to hire than Moore, ready to hire than Timashov, higher than Patan, so he should be up in the NHL. Liljegren should be up in the NHL, but he's not. But it goes all the way down to Holmberg, Horton there, Clarkson. They're on our roster. This is a really cool game, and I really do like it. Tactics, so this is all your in-game tactics. I hate messing with that, but I will mess with it come the season. Lineups, this is really cool. So if we go to action menu, where we there, lines. This is what I wanted. So lines, so we can have it, and we can actually save lines. So if someone gets injured, we can go back to save lines. So it's really, really cool. So we'll do assistants, AI set roles, assistant create lines. Oh, here we'll have them set up the entire organization. So there we go. So this is what the lines they think should be in the preseason. Does change later on. But that's who they think we should go with. I believe now I can go back up to lineups. Not too sure what the lineups means. Huh. I haven't messed with that yet. I think it's just a more in-depth version. Alright. Five and five, your power play, your penalty killing, your 4-on-3. 3-on-3, and then the goalie starts. This is something really, really, really cool. And the NHL needs to add it or implement something like this. So if I think that Frederick Anderson should get more games, I can adjust this, lock the settings, which says prevents AI from changing these choices, and it rolls with what I think should be played. One of the best things added in this game, or that's in this game. So in depth. I'll do this more in episode number 2. Alright, we are 26 minutes into this. These are probably going to be fairly long episodes, depending on how much we get done, because I want to get a lot done. And then back to the roster page. So that was more of an in-depth look there. We haven't even gone through all of the NHL stuff. So you can change your leagues, the KHL. I don't know how to pronounce Russian names. All Scandinavian. Swedish Hockey League, Swiss Hockey League, National League in Switzerland. It's very, very, very interesting. The Elite Ice Hockey League in England. You got your Canada ones, the Ontario Hockey League, the Western Hockey League, Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and Ligue Nord d'Amérique de Hockey. Ligue Nord Américaine de Hockey. I have taken French through high school. So in Canada, it's grade 11. I don't know if it is the same for the States, but that's what I'm in. So through grade 10 and grade 9, I took French. So I'm not great at it, but I know a little bit of it. You got your standing schedule transactions again, so league transactions, something we can go back to. And it has everything from the year, which is something the NHL needs to implement, or NHL, like the franchise series from EA Sports, they need to implement this so bad. We want to see from the beginning of the year, because there's stuff that I can look back on as a GM playing that game. If it only shows a month, like if it shows a year and someone made a really good move at the beginning of the year, so Leafs traded away Cody Ceci, and Nylander, brought back Jesse Puljujarvi, something like that. I would never make that deal, but something like that. That would just make this game, or make the NHL series in EA so much better, because then you can see how the team has performed since getting it, if it's been a while since you've looked. Injury report for the league, prospect rankings, power rankings, positional rankings. Get your injury report, your game performances, which is really cool. Also, I need to go over this before I forget this thought. Something that needs to be added in NHL 20 or NHL 21 is suspensions. Suspensions. This game is so good for that. It's very realistic, or as most realistic as you can get without having people looking over why they're getting kicked out of the game. But if I've done this a couple times in NHL 20 with Tavares or Hyman, I'd run players into the end boards, I'd get kicked out, but nothing would happen outside of me getting kicked out. In this game, you can't control the players, but if someone did that, they'd end up getting suspended, and you wouldn't be able to use them, which is so cool. It adds something that this game is something good. I enjoy this game so much, and I can't wait to get into actually playing it. Alright, so that's the NHL manager. Take over team, so I can force me to take over another team. I have options, so if I go in here, I can do not disturb. Commissioner mode I can add, which I can't because I'm doing a thing that it has stats to go to the actual things, or the actual, like, it's weird. But there is World Championships. There's a World Juniors in December that some of your players will go to. There's World Championships after the playoffs. There's the Winter Olympics. So your players will be gone, but there will be a break. The World Cup at the end of the summer is a thing that happens just before preseason. Obviously the playoffs, but the thing I love is that I can take over. I don't want to click that button because I don't want to like mess this up, but I get offers. Okay, let's go to the news. So in this news screen, well, I'll read this to you guys in a minute. In this news screen, off season, I'll get offers to manage under 20 teams, under 18 teams, under 17 teams, all the way down to I think under 14 teams, which is very, very helpful in this game. Because let's say I wanted to manage the under, let's say 17 Russian team or under 18 Russian team. What I can do after that is I can, since I'm managing, I can see what the best players are right out of the gate. So I have insight that the computer doesn't have. So when I'm drafting, I can trade for draft picks to move up through the year. That just adds something beautiful to this game. So this is the draft board so far. Drysdale's ranked 11. Barron's ranked 9. This is the beginning of the year. So it's consensus number 1, Alexis Lafreniere. Byfield, Lucas Raymond. Yaroslav Askarov. Yeah, I'd see him go 4th. I think that's realistic. I think more realistic for him to go 3rd or 2nd. You can see what his potential is. So his ability is 105, but he has the potential to get 2 elite player. See there, you see it now. U.S. National Development Program under 18s. NCAA Dylan Holloway. It only goes to 31, but yeah. So the under 18s. Ty Smilanic. I don't know. This game is just so good for that you're able to have the NCAA. And what's really cool is if I draft Holloway, he chooses whether or not he wants to play with the NHL team or not, or if he wants to finish his career. So, career as an NCAA player. So much like Cole, or who would it be? Cole Caulfield. I believe he is an NCAA player. He wants to finish his NCAA before going to the AHL or before going to the NHL. I don't think he can go to the AHL, so if he knows he's not going to get used, he'll finish out his NCAA career. So he commits, and you can't sign him until he turns 20 pretty much. But he does improve a lot more than on your team, because he'll get more playing time, right? So if I draft Holloway, he's gone for the 2 years because he'll turn 18 before the end of this year. So he's gone for the 2 years, but he ends up being like a 2.5 onto your team instead of, what is he now? A 0.5. So it's usually top 2 players in the draft are eligible to be used early in their career. But these guys you gotta unlock a little more on. So NCAA is something great they added. I love it. What is this? Yes. So I can pick a different team, but I'm with the Leafs, so hopefully we stay here. Alright. So let us continue. Oh, I didn't. Hold on, I didn't. It also has the champion from the last year as well. Alright, 35 minutes of talking is a lot. I have a little bit more to go, and then I'm going to be done. And then I'll take a break and do episode 2. Hopefully this is a very slow game, but it's in depth if you're willing to wait. Alright, so we got some more notes here. So the welcome to Toronto. The Toronto Maple Leafs organization would welcome you as the team's new general manager. Contract will be that for 1 year, so we have to do really good this year. Maple Leafs owner Larry Tannenbaum does have high demands of you, though. And for this season in the National Hockey League, the expectation is playoffs. That's our budget. That's our payroll. They want us to get familiar with it. There's a deadline. Cap is 81. Floor is 60. Ottawa would have been such a more in-depth team, or a better team to take a look at. But I feel like the Leafs are winners this year. So, we already looked at that. Development from the training camp. So stuff gets bumped up through training camp. Liljegren seems to be out of shape. So defenseman Timothy Liljegren returned from vacation recently, and according to teammates and members of the training staff who have seen him, he seems to be significantly out of shape. I'm gonna criticize him internally. You need to assign numbers, so I will do that. Spezza owns it, so he'll get upset, right, if I change that. So we'll go 36 for Wilson. $61. I'm just doing random numbers because I'm gonna fix all this during the intermission between episodes. Timothy Liljegren is good for that number. Perfect. So little stuff like this comes up throughout the year where you can criticize, and it boosts stuff. Alright. So that's going to be all for this episode. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you really did enjoy, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in episode 2 when we start and finish the preseason. Thank you guys. Peace out.